Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Olga and today I want to tell you a little bit about Ukrainian language as a citizen of Ukraine. And not just about Ukrainian language, but about some comparison between Ukrainian, Russian and Belarusian languages. A lot of people think that it's almost the same language and people from Russia can understand, for example, Ukrainian speaking and the opposite situation. Ukrainian speaking people can understand Russian. And with Belarusian language is the same. If they can understand, for example, Ukrainian, or Ukrainians can understand Belarusian language, and the same with Russian. Belarusian people can understand when someone speaks Russian. Actually, I would say that, of course, yes, we understand. If we are talking about Ukrainians and people from Belarus, we understand Russian language just because we know this language. And actually in Ukraine now a lot of people, they speak in Russian at home, with friends, in social networks. And in Belarus this percentage much more higher. There is in Belarus maybe the majority of people, they use Russian language instead of their own Belarusian language. So yes, we can understand Russian language, of course. But if Russian can understand, for example, Ukrainian or Belarusian language. Actually, a lot of people from Russia, they think that it's quite understandable, but it's not always so, because on the contrary, Russian, they never learned Ukrainian, most of Russians. And they never, of course, learned Belarusian language. And they not always can understand exactly what we say. Yes, they can understand a lot, and in general, yes, of course, because these languages are quite close to each other. In Ukrainian, there is some words that sounds like Russian-like, but it's a little bit changed, and it's have completely different meaning. So Russian, they, for example, assume that this word means completely different thing that people from Ukraine would never thought about, that they can assume such things. And it sometimes could be very funny for Ukrainians, because they understand Russian and they know Ukrainian. And also there is depend from which part of Ukraine this person, because, for example, on the Western Ukraine there is different dialects, and they use Hungarian words, Polish words, local words, Romanian words, that even people from Central Ukraine not always know them and not all understand. But I think for Russians, if they want, they could learn Ukrainian language for, I don't know, for it depends on the skill, but maybe for half of the year, for a year, they could understand. And the problem maybe will be in pronunciation, because Ukrainian and Russian are quite different in pronunciation, how they pronounce the words, and it will be very hard to change this, not just words, but to the pronunciation of these words. And the most interesting, if Ukrainians can understand people from Belarus who speak their own native language, Belarusian, and the opposite, if people from Belarus can understand Ukrainians. As these two nations, they are very close to each other, but we never learned our languages. And actually, yes, we understand it very, very good. And while there was a folk rebellion against their president Lukashenko, and a lot of Ukrainians watch Belarusian news, and there was a lot of Belarusian language. It was so surprising because official TV channels never use in Belarus, almost never use Belarusian language, and actually their president also not much use Belarusian, I think even maybe never. And so this previous year there was a lot of news on YouTube, for example, on Belarusian language, and a lot of Ukrainians watched that, and a Ukrainian said that we understand everything, we don't need any translation, because actually Belarusian language is so similar to Ukrainian. On my opinion, there is some different just pronunciation, and because of this some words they sound the same, but with some, different letters, different sounds, but in general you understand what the words it is. So if for example people from Belarus listen to Ukrainian language, they also say that we understand you without any translation. Actually we don't need it. So Ukrainian and Belarusian language are very, very similar, except the Belarusian language, of course, has its own pronunciation, which differs from Ukrainian. Previous year, I was interested in Belarusian and Ukrainian languages similarity, and I discovered some numbers, some percentages of similarity between our languages. Actually, there was two different research I found. They were independent and they give not completely, but different numbers. For example, on Russian Wikipedia dedicated to language similarity, there is like meaning, what it means, language similarity. There is the results about Russian language similarity to other languages. And here the numbers, like Belarusian and Russian language is similar on 86%. It means they are really very similar. There is other number, Ukrainian and Russian similar also on 86%. It means it's really very similar. Actually, it means that if Ukrainian and Belarusian is the same, similar to Russian on 86%, then Russian should understand all our words and our languages without any translation, without learning it very well. But as I said before, it's not true. And actually also I found some other research about Ukrainian and other languages similarity of another linguist researcher. It's prof.Tyschenko from Ukraine, and he studied Ukrainian language actually and its similarity to other languages. And he discovered that Ukrainian language is similar to Belarusian on 84%. It means that it's really very close. Actually, for Ukrainians, for Ukrainian language, the closest language, according to Tyschenko, it's Belarusian. And I think it's more correct result, because really Ukrainians understand people from Belarus very well without any translation, without learning of this language. So here is other results of Tyschenko research. The second language similar to Ukrainian is Polish, 70% of similarity, and the third language is 68 similarity to Slovak language. Actually, I can believe it, because I heard a lot of such expressions from Polish people that they wondered how Ukrainian language understandable for them, and they thought that maybe Slovak language is closest to Polish, but when they heard Ukrainian language, they said that, wow, it is so similar to Polish, we understand a lot, because there is a lot of the same words. Of course, Polish language, it's so special language, it has a lot of special sounds and some, special features as any language, but there is a lot of words that they are actually almost the same and we can understand it very well. And what about Slovak language? I heard also such an expression that the Slovak language sounds like Western Ukrainian language. And according to that research of Tyschenko, Russian language is most similar to Bulgarian language, and Serbian language on second place. And it's quite strange, because if you look on the map, the Bulgaria quite far from Russia, not that far, but far enough. I think it can be explained by how our alphabet developed, because actually our Ukrainian and then Russian later alphabet was taken from Bulgaria by monks Kirilla and Methody, and they it was a legend that they came with the first books, and they brought an alphabet and first books and writings to Kiev Rus lands, and then it spread to all Ukrainian cities, like Proto-Ukrainian, because before it was Rus. It consisted of different regions, quite independent regions with independent tribes. That language from Bulgaria, that word, that alphabet influence, and I don't want to tell you a lot about history, because I'm not actually a specialist in this. The Ukrainian language included a lot of folk words, folk language, not from books, and so it's not exactly so close to Bulgarian, but sometimes we can understand each other, because people all are brothers. Unusual topic for me, for this channel, because I am actually medical student and I am talking about medicine, about mature medical study in Ukraine. But I think that the more languages will develop, will be preserved on the earth, it will be better, because if there will be only one or two or three languages in the world, it won't be so interested. And in Ukraine there is a dialects, and I like to hear them. I don't think that it sounds like like unmodern or something. I think that there should be a diversity of not just the language but local dialects. I think it interesting, and so yes, it is all I wanted to say. Bye, till the next video.